Live from WFSB, Connecticut's first choice for news. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 5:30.
Stopping the noise for people who live along Interstate 84. There is a proposal to put up sound barriers, but not everybody is in favor of that.
Pinpoint News Tracker shows you where the barriers would go up along Interstate 84 from Southington to Waterbury. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Leon Collins is live in New Haven now with the mobile newsroom with more on the story. Leon?
Well, Denise and Al, these efforts to make some of those neighborhoods near I-84 quieter, are an issue of contention for some people. Not everyone is in agreement that the state should go and spend millions and millions of dollars to make those neighborhoods quieter. We actually took a good long ride today, a couple of times, from I-84, on I-84 in Southington to I-84 in Waterbury. We noticed a lot of that area. There are trees alongside both sides of the highways, but as you get closer to Waterbury, you get to some areas where the houses are pretty much stacked very close to each other on both sides of the highway, and those are where we heard the greatest number of complaints about the noise. However, we did go along that area and talk to some other people who live in I-84, and those people said they didn't think it was the wisest idea for the state to spend $10 million. Stay with Eyewitness News for the latest on this story. We apologize. We had some problems with some of that video. We'll try to get it to you later in the show. Reporting live with the mobile newsroom, Leon Collins, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
And we have a weather problem, a weather alert at this hour. One step outside, you know instantly how cold it is, biting cold. And that wind chill factor is really a serious health issue. Meteorologist Mark Dixon in the Early Warning Forecast Center with more on what we can expect tonight and tomorrow morning. Mark?
Well, Al, the bad news is the wind is not going to be going away, as it has been lessening in intensity somewhat as we've headed throughout the course of this afternoon. Let me start off by showing you temperatures or our weather alert. In fact, a wind chill advisory that remains up through tomorrow and through the noon hour for Litchfield County. Currently across the state, temperatures range from the lower into the mid-teens, and wind gusts have been impressive today. 44-mile-an-hour wind gust in Torrington, 42-mile-an-hour wind gust in Norwich, and around a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust so far in Hartford. And you add that into those very cold air temperatures out there, making it feel more like the negative single digits across the state. 3 below in Hartford, 1 below in New Haven, 5 below for Waterbury, Torrington, also in Danbury. We'll talk about the duration of this cold and when there could be some light at the end of the tunnel, if that at all, ahead in the early warning forecast.
Police in New Haven looking for an armed suspect who robbed a fast food restaurant. Police say the suspect burst into the KFC on Whaley Avenue just before noon yesterday, demanded money, but he had already escaped by the time the SWAT team moved in.
One man is now suspected in 2 cases of stealing expensive wines from a liquor store in Middletown. The owner of the beverage mart thinks the same person was caught on surveillance tapes shoplifting at the store on Washington Street. On January 11th and 15th, a man with similar descriptions is believed to have walked out with 2 bottles stuffed down his pants. Police are not yet ready to say if these 2 incidents are connected. It is a special night in stores. The men's basketball program pays tribute to its inaugural class of Huskies of Honor.
It's a lot of traffic all the time, but at night when they have trucks or if they have an accident.
It gets noisy then?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's why some state lawmakers are proposing a plan to build sound barriers along Interstate 84 to reduce the noise rumbling through some communities. The sound barriers would be built along the portion of the highway that was just reconstructed between Southington and Waterbury. One state senator from Waterbury says some neighborhoods constantly complain that the decibel level is unacceptably high because of the highway noise. The state legislature's Transportation Committee is now contemplating spending $10 million to erect barriers that would keep the highway noise level down. However, some people think $10 million spent on sound barriers is way too much. Bert Micker lives along I-84 in Cheshire near the same stretch of highway that was just redone. So you think there's better ways to use state funds?
And this is the winter. There's no trees, there's no leaves, there's nothing to buffer it. So in the summer, you can't hear nothing.
See these little cans right here? The center of a big controversy, but not the cans themselves, but what's in it. This is called Enviga, and its makers boast that it can actually burn calories. I'm going to take a swig and see what happens. I feel lighter already. But the State Attorney General, Richard Blumenthal, is skeptical about this green tea and the fact that the caffeine in it can burn more calories than you might think.
Which means that at the end of 35 days, assuming the most calories that may be burned, someone could lose a pound at a cost of about $149, taking the price of $1.39 per can.
Well, that's what the Attorney General thinks. He's demanding copies of all relevant scientific studies, clinical trials, tests, and papers, and he wants them by next week. A Coca-Cola spokesman stands behind the product, saying it's a complement to a dieting program. And Vega is being launched nationally this week.
I did check the label. There is aspartame in there if you need to know about that. Channel 3 is making more advancements with the weather. Today, we're making your weather easier for you to get. Meteorologist Mark Dixon is here now to show us how. Mark.
Well, Denise, it's an exciting time for us here at Channel 3 Eyewitness News as we strive, of course, to provide the most complete and most accessible weather coverage. Today, we're bringing you new technology from our Early Warning Forecast Center. It's an exciting time here at Channel 3 Eyewitness News, and over the past several weeks, our team of engineers have been out and about installing weather stations across the state, adding to our existing pinpoint weather net. With these stations, we're able to provide live weather conditions as they're happening town by town, from wind speed and wind direction to the temperature rising or falling. And when it comes to rain, snow, or even a gorgeous sunset, we can show you that too. With the new weather stations, we're also expanding our network of real-time cameras throughout Connecticut. And get this, there's more. You don't have to wait for a newscast to access all of the data and images from our exclusive Pinpoint WeatherNet. It's a new day on WFSB.com as we launch Eyewitness News Now. It's our new digital channel, 33.3, that's 100% local. You get the weather when you want it, and not only will you have access to our live early warning pinpoint Doppler, but also forecasts and traffic conditions statewide. You can watch it anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, streaming live. Just click on weather through WFSB.com. While there, you'll notice the page has a new look. Just when you thought the state's most comprehensive website for weather couldn't get better, we've added more graphics and more information. All righty, here it is for you right here. Just go to WFSB.com, click on weather. You get the video box, pops up at the very top part of the screen. You'll need speakers because there is audio that goes along with it. And while you're there, you can as well check out different graphics, text, forecasts as well. And then right over here under the bug there, under the 3, of course, the technical discussion that Dennis House likes to read religiously. We'll have more on that, of course, and our cold weather here in Connecticut momentarily. In the meantime, Mark Dixon, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Dennis is really a techie, isn't he? Preparing for the inevitable, planning for your funeral is now becoming more mainstream.
And one Connecticut school is addressing school safety with a powerful new tool. The new addition in the hallways takes several different approaches to keeping students safe.
He handed the teller a note demanding the money.
But this was no ordinary criminal. How Granny got away with the cash, and it's all caught on tape. Tonight at 11. Covering news in your town. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 5:30. Eyewitness News is everywhere in Connecticut.
I believe it goes up to here, across here. It's kind of at an angle.
Kay Long already knows where her final resting place will be.
The monument would be essentially in the center.
She and her husband decided on this spot in the Cedar Hill Cemetery in Hartford.
My best plan is that there would be a piece of art that would remain.
She also has the ceremony planned and her burial gown all picked out, complete with nail polish.
I have to tell you that one of the colors is called Live from New York.
Kay has been planning her funeral for 7 years.
I wanted to take as many things into my own hands so that other people are not stressed.
She says it gives her peace of mind, planning now so her loved ones won't have to do it later.
We witness every day what families can go through, emotionally and financially.
Pre-planning is becoming so popular, funeral director Ken Papillo does it full-time. With today's funerals averaging $8,000 to $10,000, prepaying can also ease the burden on loved ones.
Plus, they don't have to go in and do what the most difficult thing is to do at a time of need, and that's picking out a casket, a vault, or an urn, whichever may apply, whatever. Kind of like buying life insurance. You know, you buy that insurance because you want to cover, you know, if something should happen.
Kay says death is a part of life. She visits a cemetery and her plot every week.
I think it's really important that everyone, much as they might dislike discussing or thinking about their plans, that they think what it means to their loved ones to do pre-planning.
Kara Sundlun, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.
A remarkable Connecticut leader is returning to her roots. Former U.S. Representative Nancy Johnson, seen here on Face the State, began service this week in the Harvard University Institute of Politics. She received her bachelor's degree from there 50 years ago. Among other things, the 72-year-old will lecture on public policy issues in a seminar each week from now until mid-spring. Johnson served longer in the House than anyone in Connecticut history.
The state ban on smoking in bars and restaurants has been upheld by the state's highest court. The Supreme Court justices in Hartford rejected a challenge to the 2003 law, a challenge mounted by a group of bar and restaurant owners who claimed that it violated their equal protection rights because the ban excluded private clubs and the casinos from the ban. But the Supreme Court determined that membership fees for private clubs let them maintain their privacy and establish rules that satisfy the majority of members.
Now, Channel 3 Early Warning Weather, powered by Early Warning Pinpoint Doppler, tracking weather in your town and everywhere in Connecticut.
Well, temperatures continue to be the big story, of course, across Connecticut, the temperatures and the wind, and at least we're not dealing with any sort of precipitation. Our early warning pinpoint Doppler, it is quiet tonight. In fact, a dry day with a good amount of sunshine for much of Connecticut. Our city cam right now looking live at downtown Hartford. Checking out Central Row and the setting sun there off on the western horizon, and it's a fairly nice shot from inside looking out, of course. And our city cam from New Haven, checking out things there on the New Haven Green and the Elm City, all quiet, but the winds have definitely been up today, gusting to over 40 miles an hour. The air temperature right now on our Sleepy's Pinpoint Weather Net in the mid-teens. Earlier today down in the single digits. You add in that wind, and the wind chill values have been dangerously cold, well below zero through the course of the morning. And again, the wind is going to stay up with us as we head through the next several days. Right now in Burlington, 7-9 in Portland. And notice we're not the only ones dealing with this really cold air mass. It stretches not only through the northeast, but well through the northern plains and down through the Mississippi River Valley as well. You add in that wind, feels like 7 below in Burlington, 16 below in Portland, Maine right now, and notice the cloud movement here from the north to the south. Basically, that is the flow of our air, and it continues all the way up from the North Pole down in our direction, so it's going to keep this cold air in place as we head through the next 5 to 7 days. And in fact, it's going to be quite a while before we see temperatures climb back above the freezing mark. It's at least not going to happen in the foreseeable future. Early warning futurecast showing you tomorrow's weather today, 7 o'clock this evening. The gray across the area indicating just some patchy clouds, but mainly a clear night for us. And then throughout the day tomorrow, call it partly to mostly sunny, and it will be windy once again, but the actual air temperature is going to be a little bit warmer. We're going to start the day in the single digits, much like we did today across the state. 3 in Torrington, 6 in Willimantic is the forecast low there. 5 in Waterbury, around 10 degrees for the Connecticut shoreline tomorrow afternoon. Actually into the lower and mid-20s for much of the state. 24 Hartford as well for Norwich. 25 New Haven, 23 Enfield, and 22 for Danbury. But you, again, factor in that wind. It's going to feel considerably colder with wind chill values in the single digits at least. On our early warning 3-day forecast for Wednesday, partly sunny but still breezy and cold highs in the lower to mid-20s. Normal high for this time of year should be in the mid-30s, so we're going to be running a good 10 degrees below normal. Then on Thursday, partly sunny and windy, and guess what? Cold and windy again. So it's going to continue, and Chief Meteorologist Brewster Priest will have more on Eyewitness News at 6 as far as what to expect for the upcoming weekend. In the meantime, and anytime you're away from your television, hop on to WFSB.com, check out the new weather page. Just click on weather. You'll see Eyewitness News Now streaming live with live weather conditions from across the state.
Thank you, Mark. The first evening rush hour of the week is here.
Yes, and I wonder if we're doing okay. Rachel Lutzker, the Pinpoint Traffic Center.
Well, certainly not too bad. We've definitely seen worse, but we do have one crash. This is on the northbound side of Route 8. It's right out by exit 18 that state police were just clearing up off to the side of the road. So all that green on the highway actually indicating that traffic is still very light and not dealing with any major problems. The same goes into downtown Hartford. We'll head eastbound travel right into the capital area. Green indicating delay-free conditions now both east and westbound sides along 84. So not too much of a problem there. Just a little bit of traffic picking up into the area of the Hartford Tunnel, but again, we're traveling nicely. Same thing into New Haven along 95 north and south with no reported problems right through Long Wharf. Before you get behind the wheel, get online, go to WFSB.com, click on traffic. Sign up for Pinpoint email alerts to your computer and cell phone.
Thank you, Rachel. Big changes are happening in Plainville. That's one of the stories we have for you tonight as Channel 3 Eyewitness News goes everywhere, town by town, tonight with Kara Sundlun.
In Plainville, the $44 million Plainville High School renovation project begins this week. Members of the building committee are considering installing a solar roof system at the school. There'll be a public discussion at the Plainville Public Library tomorrow night at 6:30. In Cromwell, pirates attack an elementary school. The pirates read to the children at the Edna C. Stevens School this morning. The program is part of the school's reading initiative. And in stores, the Yukon Student Athlete Advisory Committee is also showing its support for children's literacy. The group is holding a children's book drive tonight and tomorrow night at the men's and women's basketball games. Everyone's asked to bring gently used children's books to the games. Eyewitness News is everywhere, town by town.
There's a new addition to Berlin High School, and it's all in hopes of keeping students safe. I'm Teresa LaBarbera, and that story's on the way.
And I'm Dennis House. Here's what we're working on all new at 6. A student kicked out of class. Why he was suspended for wearing a coat. And a group that has protested construction developments before has a new target, Cabela's. What the demonstrators are now demanding.
Had a school resource officer on duty. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Teresa LaBarbera took the mobile newsroom to Berlin to see how students are reacting to this new addition.
Students at Berlin High are used to seeing officers outside the building directing traffic, but as of today, school resource officer Paul Germain will be directing traffic inside.
I really want to be an advocate for the kids and for administrators, and when necessary, I'll be a police officer.
Students welcomed Officer Germain with handshakes and smiles to their hallways, even though security concerns weren't much of a thought to them.
I don't think we have a problem, but it's always a good idea to have as much of those as we can, you know.
I think it's more so for a backup, because not so much stuff happens here, but it happened in other places.
Officer Germain will visit McGee Middle School several times a week, but the bulk of his time will be spent in the high school, where he's looking forward to his new role.
Another part of my job, the last part, will be as an instructor. I hope to have the opportunity to talk to kids and some administrators about some police issues, so maybe do some instructing on driving laws, things of that nature.
Having the extra set of ears and eyes is something Principal George Sinet is all for.
Given this day and age, we are certainly concerned about school safety and security.
Officer Germain has been with the Berlin Police Department for the last 20 years. Now the position here as school resource officer is temporary, and if all goes well, the police chief will petition the town for extra funding to make the job permanent. Reporting with the mobile newsroom in Berlin, Teresa LaBarbera, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.